Hey everyone, and welcome. We all have this image of Paris in our heads, right? The romance, the lights, the picture-perfect postcards. Well, today we're tearing up that postcard. We're going to dive into the real Paris, the beautiful, the historic, and yeah, the sometimes dangerous, all through the unfiltered eyes of someone seeing it for the very first time. So let me ask you this. What is Paris if you just take the Eiffel Tower out of the picture? What's really left? Well, that's what we're here to find out. We're going to follow a traveler named Aarohi as she skips the biggest tourist trap of all to discover the city's true, complicated, and absolutely fascinating soul. All right, so our story kicks off right where Paris itself was born. Picture this, a little island smack in the middle of the Seine River. It's called the Île de la Cité, and it is literally the ancient heart of the city. Everything you think of as Paris, it all grew from this one spot. And you gotta love this little Parisian paradox. The oldest bridge in the entire city is called Pont Neuf, which, of course, means new bridge. It was right here, on this wonderfully ironic bridge, that Aarohi and her husband Prakhar found a moment of peace, away from all the city's frantic energy. Just the two of them, the sound of the Seine, and this incredible sense of history all around them. You know, sometimes the smallest decisions make the biggest difference. For just €2 extra, they decided to ditch those massive crowded tour boats. Instead, they hopped on a smaller one with a live guide. And wow, did that little choice pay off. It was their ticket to seeing a side of the city's secrets that most tourists completely miss. And in that perfect, quiet moment, a promise is made. It's that feeling, isn't it? When a place just gets under your skin so deeply that you know you have to come back. This wasn't just sightseeing for them anymore. It was a real personal connection, the kind you can't get just by taking pictures of famous buildings. Okay, so from the calm of the river, we're heading up to the legendary hill of Montmartre. You've heard of it, right? The artists, the painters. But what Aarohi's about to find out is that Montmartre has two faces. One is beautiful, and the other, well, it's hiding in the shadows. Just try to imagine this for a second. You get to the viewpoint right below the stunning Sacré Cœur Basilica. And there it is, all of Paris spread out at your feet. The sun is setting, painting every single rooftop this incredible shade of gold, and the basilica behind you starts to just glow. It is an absolutely perfect, breath-stealing moment. And then, snap, the magic is gone. Someone comes up, all smiles, offering a friendship gift. Before Aarohi even knows what's happening, a string is wrapped around her wrist, pulled tight. And then the voice changes. The friendly act evaporates. No, 10 euros. Suddenly, that perfect moment has turned into something tense, something threatening. So this was a harsh lesson. Aarohi basically had to write her own survival guide for Montmartre on the spot. Rule 1, stay away from that path on the right. It's shady for a reason. Rule 2, those cup and ball games, total scam. Don't even look. And the big one, if the bracelet guys come near you, just smile and walk away. Fast. Yeah, it feels rude, but she learned that in Paris, sometimes being rude is what keeps your money in your pocket. But here's the thing about Montmartre. The magic is stubborn. It fights back. A little later, they're walking down these old cobblestone steps, and the old-fashioned gas lamps start to flicker on, and for about 10 minutes, everything is perfect again. The light makes their shadows long and golden, and Aarohi says in that moment, her simple jacket suddenly felt like it was Chanel. She was in the Paris she'd always dreamed of. And if you want to understand the split personality of Paris, this is it. They hop on the metro. One single stop. And they go from the sacred, artistic hill of Montmartre to the scandalous, neon-soaked streets of Pigalle. The shift is, well, it's whiplash. I mean, look at this. On one side, you've got Sacré Cœur, the pure white dome, the smell of prayer candles, this feeling of total awe. And on the other, Pigalle, screaming red neon signs, the loud pulse of cabaret music, and an energy that's all about, well, desire. It's night and day, and they're practically next-door neighbors. So right in the middle of all this is a place called the Sexodrome. And for Aarohi, just putting her hand on the door handle was this huge internal battle. You can imagine it, right? Part of her is curious, part of her is hesitant, years of her upbringing are screaming no, but then she does it. She takes that step across the line, into the taboo, and this wave of pure thrill just hits her. And inside, whoa, it's a whole other universe. The ground floor is kind of what you'd expect. Mannequins in lace, some playful toys. But then you go up to the first floor, and suddenly it's all leather cuffs and whips, like a real-life 50 Shades set. And the top floor? Let's just say there were video booths and sounds coming from the back rooms. For Aarohi, this was a world away from anything she knew. Every single boundary was being pushed. Okay, so after all that intensity, all they wanted was a simple, quiet dinner. And that search led them somewhere completely unexpected, but also incredibly comforting. They ended up in a neighborhood called La Chapelle, which is basically Paris's own Little India. The second they get out of the metro, everything changes. The smells, the sounds, the faces. For a moment, Aarohi felt like she wasn't in Paris at all, but back in Delhi. There are stalls selling pani puri, people who look like they're from her neighborhood, and that amazing smell of masala hanging in the air. It's this beautiful, surreal feeling of finding home where you least expect it. So they're sitting in this little restaurant, eating real, authentic Indian food, listening to old Hindi music, and Aarohi has this incredibly poetic thought. It was like home had literally traveled 7,000 kilometers just to find them there, in Paris. How amazing is that? But Paris wasn't done showing its true colors. They're feeling safe, feeling at home, wrapped in this warm feeling of nostalgia. And then it happens. They make one wrong turn down a dark street. A group of men approach. And suddenly Prakar is yelling, "Run, Aarohi!" In a heartbeat, all of that comfort, all of that safety, it's gone. So, how do you even begin to process a day like that? Think about it. You've experienced pure beauty, crossed personal taboos, found a piece of home, and then faced real, terrifying danger, all in a few hours. That long bus ride home for them was all about trying to piece it all together. And on that quiet bus ride, Prakar says something really profound. He says, it's not the government or the monuments that make a place what it is. It's the people. The good and the bad. The scammers trying to rip you off, and the kind restaurant owner who makes you feel at home. It's all about the people. And that, right there, is the big takeaway. The real Paris wasn't just the postcard fantasy, and it wasn't just the scary underbelly either. It was both. It was everything all tangled up together. In one single night, the city showed them its softest, most magical side, and its sharpest, most dangerous one. So, in just one day, Aarohi experienced a Paris that's more raw, more real, and more complicated than anything you'll find in a travel guide. She found beauty, thrill, and danger, all at once. It really makes you wonder, right? If all of that happened in just one day, what else did Paris have in store for her? What other lessons were waiting around the next corner?